I live in a late 18th century Georgian house in Scotland, and I've always wondered what this little door in my hallway is for. It's so strange to me because it just seems too small to have any pragmatic use. The opening is located on the second level of the house. I'm getting a lot of people saying that this is likely storage for coal and firewood, but it just seems a tad small to be used for that purpose. There is more space on the wall it's placed and that could have been dug out to create additional space. What exactly is this thing? It's a chamber pot storage. A chamber pot was used pre-indoor plumbing. It was a large container that you could go to the bathroom in your bedroom and saved you from having to make a trip outside to the privy or outhouse in the dark or bad weather. What are these torpedo-shaped weights in an old 1906 farmhouse wall? I'm renovating my kitchen and pulled these out from between the studs after removing the drywall. They are about 15 inches long and maybe 10 pounds apiece. The ropes were not attached to anything, and I initially thought they might be old cloth-covered wiring. Any ideas? They are definitely weights for old windows. I saw plenty of those up north at houses with old wood-framed windows. Basically there's a roller that lets these roll on, and these are just a counterweight. When you pull the window up, the weight goes down, and it makes it nice and easy to push the window up and down. What is this short wood and metal cane-like object? It's from my boyfriend's grandmother. The black is painted wood, and it looks like two swords on the top and a triangle with a lightning bolt on top, but I can't make out the rest. He's from a military family, so I'm assuming that has something to do with that. He has no idea what it is either. I believe his grandfather was in cavalry unit in the 1930s to 1940s. Any info is appreciated. It's a swagger stick. These were once very prominent in the military. The emblem on top is the basic US Army Armored Division emblem. For a specific division you'd have a number and usually a nickname. The other one on the side is the armor branch insignia of an M26 Pershing over crossed swords, which dates to 1951 or later. What is this creepy carved stone hanging ornament? It has four faces across the side, a strange bird sign at the bottom, and draped curtains hanging above. I found it in a thrift store, and I cannot find any information on what this could be. It's quite heavy and a tad smaller than my hand. Any ideas? That's a model of the balloon used in the first aerostatic flight in 1783. Which was the first to carry men through the air. The hot air balloon took off from the grounds of a chateau in the western outskirts of Paris. The two men flew over 9 kilometers at an altitude of 910 meters. They landed after 25 minutes near the current Paris metro. They had enough fuel to fly 4 or 5 times farther, but the embers generated by the fire were scorching the fabric. This was the beginning of one of man's greatest adventures. This was found 7 feet under the basement of a 100-plus-year-old house in Toronto, Canada. It was found when plumbers were putting in a new pipe to connect to the city's pipe. It seems to be made of partially glazed clay, but I don't know for sure. No markings on the bottom that I can tell. It is 14.5 centimeters or 5.7 inches tall and 12.5 centimeters wide or 4.9 inches. What is it? It's a traditional Chinese soy sauce jug from the 19th century, likely just discarded, but it is now interesting because it's old. I am an archaeologist in the US and mostly deal with prehistorics. Even many prehistoric artifacts we find were basically trash to those people. But when you think about it, the person who used this was done with it and tossed it. It's crazy how much stuff like this you find along old trails and whatnot. People really haven't changed much in that sense over time. If you're done with something, it is now trash and you might as well toss it. What is this metal plate the size of an outlet cover on the baseboard of my house in Toronto? The house was built in 1910, and the text reads the Gurney Foundry Company, Toronto. This is mounted on the baseboard in the main hallway, next to a heating vent. I'm not sure if it's an original part of the house we just moved in. It looks to be made of iron. What is it for? It's a furnace chain plate, used to control the furnace in the basement. They held chains that controlled the damper on the furnace. The chains would have gone through holes in the floor. One controls the air supply to the fire, and the other allows air to enter above the fire, to take heat away from the flue pipes which heated the house. Why does my $1 bill have a star by it? Usually it is a letter. It looks like a really low number too. Any ideas? It's called a star note. It indicates that it's a replacement when the original had a printing error. It is somewhat rare depending on what letter and number you have. According to the paper money collecting frequently asked questions, there's about one error in every 100,000 US bills. You may have a collector's item on your hands. Can anyone ID this unusual teapot? It doesn't have a lid, no markings, and a handle on the front. It's white china, and there is some crazing to the glaze, so is obviously not modern. Any ideas? It's an invalid's cup from Victorian early 20th century. It was used to feed invalids who were too weak or ill to sit up. In Victorian times, wealthy families used to nurse sick children, parents and grandparents at home. They bought this cup from the chemist's shop and used it to feed sick members of the family. What is this thing I found in my late grandfather's old toolbox? He was born in 1899 and grew up on a farm in Pennsylvania, and his family was Hungarian. It's made of metal, about 2 ounces. It opens and closes like scissors, and has no markings whatsoever. The only thing I could think of is maybe a cherry pit remover, but I tried it out, and it took out more cherry than the pit. What is it for? It's a pineapple SNIP, patented January 11, 1901, by John F. Pack of Rochester, New York. It is designed to remove the eyes from the outer surface of pineapples or other vegetables, as stated in the patent. What is this thing I found in an old 1900s basement of a house we are looking to buy? All of us cannot identify it. Any ideas? Thanks in advance. It's a Duro pump from Burnett Larche Manufacturing Company, most likely an electric motor. The motor was bolted to the sprung platform, but obviously removed, and the belt transferred power from the motor pulley to the pump pulley. Likely the wire there was for motor power. There could be a switch in the kitchen for it. The company was founded on January 28, 1913. By C. DeLeon in Dayton, Ohio. Its industry was water supply systems and softeners, but 2 years later in 1915, the company was bought out by Claude E. Burnett and E. P. Larche and was renamed. What is the purpose of a ring like this? It's a sterling silver ring with a gemstone on top. The face of it is clasped shut and can be opened up to reveal a little space for holding something. Any ideas? Please leave us a comment. Thanks for watching. Let's make life fun.